Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Yeah, cool. So I played at the Olympic Casino here. I think it's the only casino that has poker here.
Okay.
It's a 2-2 euro game with a 500 cap, but they really don't care. So people sit down with more than 500 a lot of times.
Just out of curiosity,
Um,
what's the rake like in some of these European games? Do you know?
yeah, it's bizarre. It's 5% up to 10 euros.
All right, it's not so bad. 5% rake. Okay, cool. So 2
Right.
euros, 500
I
cap.
grew up in Vegas where it's 10% up to 5 euros. Here,
Yeah,
5% up to 10 euros is a little bit different.
yeah.
Yeah, 500 cap. So I have 430,
Okay.
and the villain has me covered somewhere between 500 550.
Uh-huh.
And we're playing six-handed,
Okay.
so it's not a full ring game.
Okay.
Um, I am in the small blind. Villain is in the cutoff.
Okay.
It folds to him. He opens to 10.
Okay.
I have queen 10 of clubs, and I three bet to 32 from the small blind. I've got questions about that.
Okay.
I typically don't like to flat from the small blind. It's either fold or three bet for me.
I don't think you have to have that general of a strategy. I think that it probably depends a lot on the big blind. I think that if you're playing tournaments where people are more aware of pot odds and the odds that they're getting with antes, that comes into play a lot more often. But you don't always have to have that type of um, approach. But I certainly have no problem with you three betting to a suited Broadway out of
Okay,
small blind here.
one of the main reasons I did is because this guy is he's drinking, he's playing pretty crazy. I've played with him for maybe 45 minutes to an hour at this point. He's gotten caught bluffing twice, so I kind of just wanted to ISO. Yeah, I three bet to 32 because I wanted the big blind out, so it'd just be between me and the crazy guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I have a question about the sizing. Is 32 reasonable?
I think you probably can go a little bit larger with these stack sizes because when you make it 32, he's going to be getting 2 to 1, so he's going to be making a kind of a wide range. One of the things that Conlon said in the Top Section podcast when we were talking about preflop is that guys who are playing online in those tough games, they're actually raising out of the blinds even larger to like 2x pot. Like absurd
Yeah.
amounts they are raising to. They're raising absurd amounts. So I would tend to go a
Um,
little bit larger, yeah.
okay. All right. That makes sense. I didn't mind him calling. I wouldn't mind playing a heads up, even out of position. I wouldn't mind playing a heads up hand against him. But the main goal for what I was thinking at least was to get the big blind to fold. I was
Conference
assuming that
locked.
he was calling.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, he calls,
Yep.
and the flop comes out eight of clubs, six of clubs, three of hearts.
8 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 3 of hearts, okay?
So I flop the flush draw with two overs.
Right. And the pot's about 70, well, maybe like $65, something like that, right?
66.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you have about 400 left. So, I think that I would be betting here and just I'm definitely going to probably bet this might be a hand that I'll barrel off. I think you're going to turn a fair amount of equity here, a lot too, whether it's top pair or, you know, make your
Yep.
flush, a
So,
pair, gut shot, something like that.
right. So with 66 in the pot, I'm pretty sure I bet 42.
Okay.
Is that sizing reasonable?
42, yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. He calls.
Any
Now
read
we've
on this
got what?
guy or like what type of player he is or anything like that?
I've only played with him. I've never seen him before, but I've had played with him for 45 minutes to an hour. He had gotten caught bluffing twice, and he's chugging beers.
Okay.
So like he's the nutcase at the table.
Yep.
So he calls. Turn comes nine of diamonds, which actually gives me a double gutter also.
That's right. Yep, it does. It's a very hidden double gutter too, right? Because you got a 7 or a jack.
That's right.
Yep.
I then bet 85 into about 150,
Okay.
and he calls.
Okay. Did you ever consider check raising all in on the turn or having it go check check? I mean, the only thing here is that I just don't know. Yes, you pick up a lot of equity, right, on the turn, but I don't know if you're ever going to get a fold from that type of player type on a 9 turn. I mean, when you think of the hands he's peeling with, you might, I guess, occasionally get a hand like Ace Jack to fold or something like that, but that's a pretty big stretch. So it's not terrible sometimes to check here if you have absolutely no fold equity. And if he puts up at a small bet, you could actually even check raise the turn, and then you look very strong. And occasionally he'll go check check. And then also too, if he stabs at the turn, you just get him off the hand because you only have queen high.
Okay, but I feel like I want to bloat the pot a bit because I have so much equity, and I wouldn't want him to check back. Am I wrong there?
Well, if you always go, yeah, but I mean, are you gonna bet any card below a 9 that doesn't make your hand on the river?
Well, okay, that's where the good questions come. So I bet 85. He calls.
Uh huh.
That puts about 320 in the pot. I have
Right.
about 270 in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
River comes three of diamonds, so it's now 86393,
Yep.
and I feel like that's a really good card for my range.
Because what you're trying to rep like you have an overpair, you mean?
An overpair, yeah. I didn't counterfeit top two or anything like that, and I stuck it in with
Well, I mean,
270.
listen, I mean, hey, I've talked about a couple hands like this on the CLP podcast the last couple weeks, and I'm going to talk about another one. A lot of times, people just aren't folding at these levels. I don't know if he's going to come off of Ace Nine here. I think that some people in the chat are saying your turn bet's a little bit small, and it is a little bit small, except for the fact that you're setting up a pot size shove, which is maybe what you wanted to do. Because you bet,
Exactly.
yeah, because you
Yeah.
bet 85, now you have a huge bet left on the river. So people that are saying, oh, bet 120, well, if he bets 120 and the guy calls, now all of a
And then
sudden,
I brick.
yeah, now all of a
Right.
sudden
Then
the
I
pot is
and I'm out.
390 and you only have like 200 left or whatever it is, maybe what would it be, like 230 left. So people have to pay attention to turn sizing and effective stacks. You know what I mean?
Right. I did that to leave myself 270. It's
Right.
basically, and then if I hit my hand, depending on what I hit, whether I hit the straight or the flush,
Mm-hmm.
I would then reassess and not even necessarily go all in. I think I probably would if I had hit the straight,
Yeah.
and then if I had hit the flush, maybe value that a little smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted a big bet in case I bricked like I did.
Yeah, I mean, I just whatever. I mean, you're representing an overpair, obviously, and I think that the 3 is a decent card for you because I think that even at this level, people will recognize, hey, like I can bet aces here. If
Mhm.
the river had come out like a deuce or a 5 or a 4, I just probably not so much. Even though it should be the same bet, I just feel like you get called more often because people don't see people do that with overpairs. You know what I mean? I mean, you should be
Mhm.
doing that with jacks in this spot, right? If the river came off a 4. So what ended up
Right,
happening?
right. He called with ace high,
With ace high, what did he have? Like ace queen or something?
ace 10, no clubs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I said that like maybe you can get a guy off of ace jack on the turn, but ace 10 picks up a gutter too. I wouldn't have
Right.
thought that that hand would call. It's probably not that good of a call if he sometimes can't beat your ace high bluffs. Like if
Hmm.
you ever ran a bluff with like ace king, ace queen, something like that, it would suck to have that. He doesn't have any clubs, so you could have clubs, and it depends on how wide. But I mean, boy, it's a stretch. I mean, you have to have king high or queen high here for that call to be profitable.
Right. I mean, I don't want to be results oriented and say maybe I should have checked the river or anything like that. I just want to make sure that blasting the
Conference
river like that
unlocked.
is reasonable play.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, I don't know
Because
if I
I
would.
do have
I don't know if I would
I
do that at the end. I don't know if I would go for it on the river because it doesn't seem to work all that much in these games.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I do have club blockers and straight blockers, so I don't know if that makes it a worse play.
You do, but I mean, he still can sometimes just go with his hand, like he's going to call with a nine or something like that. I'm going to move along. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.